My fiancée stated, "I've already hired a lawyer, we're done." The room went quiet, I smiled, efficient. I opened a file she'd never bothered to read, made one silent adjustment. As her lawyer scrolled through the pages, his expression changed. "I'm 33, been engaged for 10 months, and I just learned that some people mistake preparation for paranoia until documents start talking. We'd been together for 4 years, met at a friend's birthday party. She was confident, driven, worked in marketing for a tech company, made good money. So did I. We were comfortable, bought a condo together 2 years in, got engaged last year, wedding planned for next fall. The problems started around 6 months ago. She became secretive, phone always face down, password changed without telling me, staying late at work 3-4 times a week. I noticed but didn't push, told myself I trusted her, told myself I was being paranoid. Then I found the text, not because I was snooping, because she left her laptop open one night. I walked past to close it and saw the messages, dozens of them, to someone from her office, flirty at first, then explicit, then planning, meeting at hotels, lunch breaks that weren't lunch breaks, late nights that weren't about work. I sat down, read through everything. My hands were shaking, but I kept reading. Every message felt like a knife. They'd been seeing each other for 4 months, 4 months of lies, 4 months of her coming home and kissing me hello while texting him good night, 4 months of planning our wedding while planning hotel meetings with him. I took screenshots, didn't confront her, not yet, called a lawyer instead. My uncle had recommended him years ago for estate planning. I told him what I'd found, asked what I should do. "Document everything, don't tell her you know, and we need to review any financial agreements you two have. We own the condo together, both names on the deed, any prenup discussions." She refused, said it was unromantic, said she'd never sign one. "What about a cohabitation agreement?" "No, nothing like that." He was quiet. "Did you contribute more to the down payment?" "Yeah, about 70%, she put in 30. "Do you have documentation of that? Bank transfers, wire receipts, everything." "Good, keep those safe, we might need them." I spent 2 weeks gathering evidence, screenshots of texts, bank statements showing my larger contribution to the condo, receipts from furniture I'd bought, evidence of bills I'd paid, built a file of everything that proved what was mine versus what was ours. Every night I'd come home and she'd ask about my day. I'd smile, say it was fine, ask about hers. She'd lie, say work was busy, that her team was demanding, that her boss was difficult. All while texting him under the table during dinner, all while planning their next meeting, all while wearing my ring. Then I did something else, something she never expected. I contacted her company's HR department, anonymously, sent them evidence of her affair with a co-worker. Their company had strict policies about workplace relationships, especially undisclosed ones, especially ones involving people in the same department where one had authority over the other. I crafted the email carefully, professional, concerned, attached relevant screenshots with identifying information of my fiancée and her affair partner clearly visible. Explained the power dynamic, the potential for favoritism, the ethics violations. Sent it from a burner email account at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. Turns out the guy she was seeing was her direct supervisor. That made it even worse. Company policy violation, ethics breach, potential favoritism in promotions or projects. HR started an investigation immediately. I waited, watched, said nothing. She came home stressed some days, said work was difficult, that there were some internal issues, that HR was asking questions about team dynamics. I'd nod sympathetically, ask if she was okay. She'd say she was fine, just work politics. 2 weeks after I contacted HR, she came home early, looked shaken. Face pale, hands trembling. "We need to talk." "About what? About us, about our relationship." I set down my book, kept my face neutral. "Okay, let's talk." She sat across from me, wouldn't make eye contact. "I've been unhappy for a while. I think we want different things. Different things like what? Different futures, different lives. I don't think we're compatible anymore. Where's this coming from?" "I've just been thinking and I've realized this isn't working. I want to end the engagement. End it. Just like that. Yes, I've already hired a lawyer, we're done." The room went quiet. I looked at her, really looked at her. Saw the calculation in her eyes, the way she'd already planned this conversation, already decided how it would go. She thought she was in control, thought she'd blindsided me, thought I'd be emotional and easy to manipulate in the division of assets. I smiled, efficient. She blinked. "What?" "You've already hired a lawyer, you've already decided we're done, very efficient, no discussion. No attempt at counseling, just done. There's nothing to discuss. I've made up my mind, fair enough. When do you want to start the separation process? She looked surprised, thrown off by my calm. You're not going to fight this. Why would I fight someone who doesn't want to be here? I don't know, I thought you'd be more upset. I'm upset. But I'm not going to beg you to stay. If you're done, you're done. She seemed unsettled by my calm, had probably expected tears, anger, desperation. Instead, I was composed, reasonable, already moving on mentally. We need to figure out the condo and the furniture and everything we've bought together. Sure, let's do that. When's your lawyer available? Next week, Tuesday afternoon, can you make it? I'll be there. She left the room. I heard her making calls in the bedroom, probably to him, probably celebrating that I hadn't made a scene, that I'd been reasonable, easy to manipulate, easy to push into giving her half of everything, even though I'd paid for most of it. She had no idea what was coming. Update 1, the weekend was tense. We barely spoke. She slept in the guest room, packed some of her things, acted like she was the victim in this situation, like I'd somehow failed her, like our relationship ending was something that had happened to her rather than something she'd orchestrated. I watched her move through the condo, touching things we'd bought together, looking at pictures on the walls, playing the role of heartbroken fiancé when I knew she'd been cheating for months, when I knew she was probably texting him whenever she left the room. Monday morning, I met with my lawyer, brought the file I'd been building, bank statements, text screenshots, evidence of the affair, documentation of my larger financial contribution to the condo, everything organized in a thick folder with tabs and dates and highlighted sections. He reviewed everything, took his time, made notes. This is good, really good. The affair won't matter legally for property division, but the financial contributions do. You put in 70% of the lawyers. What about her lawyer? Depends on how aggressive they are. If they push for a 50-50 split, we show them the evidence. If they're reasonable, we negotiate something fair based on actual contributions. And the affair, we keep that in our back pocket. If she tries to paint herself as the wronged party, we have proof otherwise. If she claims she deserves more because of emotional investment or partnership, we show what that partnership actually looked like. What about her job situation? What about it? She's under investigation at work for the affair. He was her supervisor, company policy violation. His eyebrows went up. They're investigating. As of 2 weeks ago, anonymous tip to HR, anonymous tip. Right, he smiled slightly. That could impact her income. If she loses her job or gets demoted, it affects what she can contribute going forward, makes her claim to half the assets weaker. If she can't prove, she'll maintain her current earning capacity. Exactly. You've thought this through. I had 2 weeks to think while watching her lie to my face every night. Tuesday came. We met at her lawyer's office. Downtown high-rise, expensive furniture. Her lawyer was mid-40s, sharp suit, confident handshake. The kind of lawyer you hire when you want to win. The kind who charges $400 an hour and makes you feel like it's worth it. We sat in a conference room, her on one side with her lawyer, me on the other with mine, like a business negotiation, which I guess it was. The dissolution of a 4-year relationship reduced to line items and asset divisions. Her lawyer started, "Thank you both for coming. We're here to discuss the dissolution of your engagement and the division of shared assets. My client wants this to be amicable, fair. She's proposing a 50-50 split of all shared property and assets." My lawyer responded, "That's generous, but it doesn't reflect actual contributions." My client provided 70% of the down payment on the condo, has been paying 60% of the mortgage, has documentation of all of this. Her lawyer looked at my fiancé. She looked uncomfortable, shifted in her seat. I didn't realize we were keeping score. It's not keeping score. It's documenting contributions. You wanted fair. Fair means accounting for what each person actually put in. Her lawyer regrouped, cleared his throat. Even so, they've lived together for 3 years, shared expenses, shared a life. A 50-50 split recognizes that partnership. My lawyer opened the file I'd brought, the thick folder with tabs and highlighted sections. Let's talk about that partnership and about whether my client's fiancé has been operating in good faith. He slid a document across the table, the text screenshots, printed, dated, explicit, organized chronologically to show the progression from friendly to inappropriate to explicit planning. 4 months of evidence. Her lawyer picked it up, started reading. His expression changed, went from confident to concerned. He looked at my fiancé. "You didn't mention this. She turned red. That's private. It's evidence of infidelity during the engagement that impacts the conversation. It shouldn't. We're not married. Infidelity doesn't matter legally. My lawyer leaned forward. It matters when your client is trying to paint herself as the reasonable party who just wants a fair split. It matters when she's asking my client to give up assets he paid for because of partnership while she was actively betraying that partnership. Her lawyer set down the papers, looked at more of the file, saw the bank statements, the wire transfers, the receipts, the documentation that proved I'd been funding most of our life while she was cheating. Can we have a moment private conversation with my client? Of course. They left. Went to another room. My fiancée wouldn't look at me as she walked out. Her lawyer's hand was on her elbow, guiding her firmly, like he was angry with her. Like she'd misrepresented the situation and made him look foolish. 20 minutes passed. They came back. Her eyes were red, she'd been crying, mascara smudged. Her lawyer looked stern. Professional mask back on, but I could see the irritation underneath. Her lawyer sat down. We'd like to propose a different arrangement, 60-40 split, 60 to your client, 40 to mine. She keeps the furniture she brought into the relationship. He keeps his. They split the stuff they bought together based on who wants what. My lawyer looked at me. I nodded. That works with one addition. What addition? She moves out within 30 days. The condo stays in my name. I buy out her portion based on current market value. She gets her 40% of the equity. Clean break. Her lawyer conferred with her. She nodded, defeated, broken, realizing she'd lost the control she thought she had. Agreed. We signed papers, made it official. She'd be out by the end of the month. I'd refinance, remove her name. The condo would be mine, everything documented, everything legal, everything final. As we were leaving, her lawyer pulled my lawyer aside. I heard pieces of it. Your client played this smart. He documented everything. Hard to argue against documentation. Still, the timing, the HR investigation. That was him, wasn't it? My lawyer didn't answer. Just smiled. The kind of smile that says yes without saying anything at all. Update 2. She moved out 2 weeks later, took her furniture, some kitchen stuff, personal items, left most of the art we'd bought together, said she didn't want reminders, didn't want to look at paintings we'd chosen together or sculptures we debated over in galleries. I didn't help her pack, didn't help her load the truck, just stayed out of her way. Let her take what was hers and leave. Watched from the window as she made trip after trip to the moving truck parked in front of our building. The day she left, she stood at the door with the last box, looked around the condo one more time. I didn't think you'd be like this. Like what? Cold, calculated. I thought you loved me. I did love you. Past tense. You killed that when you started lying to me every day. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Multiple choices for months. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. I'm sorry for what it's worth. It's not worth anything. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. Sorry you didn't get to keep the condo and the comfortable life while having your affair. She didn't respond, just picked up her box and left. I watched her drive away, felt nothing. No sadness, no anger, just relief, relief that it was over, relief that I'd protected myself, relief that I hadn't let emotion override strategy. That night I changed the locks, updated the security codes, made the condo officially mine, ordered new furniture to replace what she'd taken, started making it feel like my space instead of our space, painted the bedroom a different color, rearranged everything, created something new from what was left. Update 3. A month later, I heard through mutual friends that she'd been demoted at work. The investigation had concluded she'd violated company policy. They didn't fire her, but they moved her to a different department. Different role. Less pay, less authority, less prestige. The guy she'd been seeing got fired, more senior position, more responsibility, bigger ethics violation. They didn't give him the option to transfer, just terminated him, escorted out by security the same day. 20 years at the company are raised in an afternoon. Apparently they broke up shortly after. Turns out their relationship had been mostly about the thrill of the affair, the secrecy, the risk. Once it was public and had consequences, the attraction faded. He blamed her for reporting them to HR. She blamed him for not being worth losing her relationship and her position over. I didn't feel satisfaction hearing this. Just confirmation that I'd dodged something worse. That the person I'd been engaged to wasn't who I thought she was. That behind the confident marketing professional was someone who made selfish choices and blamed others when those choices had consequences. My lawyer called me in early November. The refinance went through. Condo's officially in your name only. Your ex-fiancé's equity payment was processed. Everything's finalized. Good. Thanks for everything. You did the right thing. Documentation saved you thousands. Maybe tens of thousands. I know, I'm just glad it's over. Take some time. Process everything. Then move forward. You're young. You've got your whole life ahead of you. He was right. I was 33. Had my own place. Good job. No debt. No drama. For the first time in 6 months, I felt like I could breathe. Like the weight I'd been carrying was finally lifted. Update 4. December came, holiday season, first one single in 5 years. My family asked questions, I gave them the short version. We'd grown apart, decided to end things, clean split, moved on, my mother saw through it. What really happened? She cheated, I found out, handled it quietly. We split assets fairly. She's gone, I'm fine. Are you really fine? I'm getting there. Some days are harder than others, but yeah, I'm fine. Did you ever confront her about the cheating? No, I documented it, used it as leverage in the split, got what I'd paid for. Didn't see the point in a big dramatic confrontation. Wouldn't have changed anything. Would have just given her warning to hide assets or build her own case. That's very mature or very calculated, depending on how you look at it. She hugged me. Either way, you protected yourself. That's what matters. Your father and I didn't raise a fool. New Year came. I spent it alone. Ordered takeout. Watched movies. Went to bed at 10:3. Woke up in a new year feeling lighter than I had in months, feeling like I'd left something toxic behind and could finally start fresh. Update 5 February brought an unexpected message. From her, first contact since she'd moved out. I heard you're doing well, I'm happy for you. I stared at the text. Debated responding, decided, why not, thanks, I'm doing well, hope you are too, I'm okay. New job actually, different company, fresh start, that's good. I've been thinking about what happened, about how things ended, I handled it badly. Yeah, you did, I was selfish. Cowardly. I should have been honest with you instead of sneaking around. Should have ended things before starting something else. You should have, but you weren't. And now we're here. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I wanted you to know I'm sorry, really sorry. I appreciate that for what it's worth. I hope you learned something from this, about honesty, about consequences. I did. Too late for us, but I did. I lost everything. My relationship, my position at work, my self-respect. All for something that wasn't even real. Good, take care of yourself. You too, that was it. Last conversation we ever had. I blocked her number after that. Didn't need closure, didn't need friendship. Just needed to move forward without looking back. Final update. It's been 8 months since she stated she'd hired a lawyer. 8 months since that conference room meeting where her lawyer's expression changed as he read through the file she'd never bothered to read. The file I'd been building for weeks. The evidence I'd gathered quietly. The documentation that protected everything I'd worked for, every bank statement, every wire transfer, every receipt, every screenshot, all organized, all dated, all irrefutable. She'd assumed I'd be emotional, messy, easy to manipulate, that I'd roll over and give her half of everything, because that's what nice guys do, what accommodating fiancés do, what people in love do. But I'd stopped being accommodating the moment I found those texts. The moment I realized the person I was planning to marry was lying to me every single day, was building a separate life behind my back while pretending we had a future together, was actively betraying me while planning a wedding with me. The silent adjustment I made wasn't to any document, it was to myself, to my approach, to my strategy. I went from trusting partner to protective adversary in the span of a prioritized over sentiment. I documented, I gathered, I prepared. And when she finally made her move, when she walked in with her lawyer thinking she held all the cards, I was ready, more than ready. I was armed with evidence she didn't know existed, with proof she couldn't refute, with documentation that told the story she'd tried to hide. Her lawyer scrolled through those pages and his expression changed because he realized his client had lied to him, had portrayed herself as the reasonable party in an amicable split, had neglected to mention the affair, the company policy violations. The fact that her soon-to-be ex-fiancé had been paying for most of their life together while she was cheating with her supervisor. The look on his face wasn't surprise, it was recognition. Recognition that he'd been played by his own client, that the case he thought was simple was actually complicated, that his opponent had been 3 steps ahead the entire time, that the crying woman beside him had misrepresented everything. I got the condo. Got 60% of the shared assets. Got to keep my dignity and my bank account. Got to walk away knowing I'd protected myself. She got 40% a demotion and a failed relationship with the person she'd risked everything for. Some people call what I did cold, calculated, ruthless even. Maybe it was, but I call it self-preservation. I call it refusing to be a victim. I call it protecting what I'd built before she decided to burn it all down. I call it learning that sometimes the person hurting you doesn't deserve mercy, just consequences. The file she'd never bothered to read was her own behavior, her own choices, her own lies documented in black and white. I just documented them, organized them, made sure they were visible when it mattered most, made sure her attempt to manipulate me failed because I had facts and she only had tactics. That one silent adjustment changed everything. Changed me from someone who trusted blindly to someone who verifies, from someone who assumed good faith to someone who documents bad behavior, from someone who would have been taken advantage of to someone who took control, from someone who let emotion guide decisions to someone who let evidence speak. I'm 33, single, own my own place, have learned that love without verification is just hope. That trust without documentation is just naivety. That being prepared isn't paranoia, it's intelligence. That protecting yourself isn't selfishness, it's survival. She walked in thinking she'd already won, walked out realizing she'd never had a chance. Because while she was busy betraying me, I was busy protecting myself. While she was planning her exit strategy, I was building my defense. While she was lying to my face, I was documenting the truth. And that's the difference between reacting and preparing, between being a victim and being strategic, between losing everything and keeping what's yours, between letting someone take advantage and making them face consequences. The room went quiet when she announced she'd hired a lawyer. I smiled because I'd hired mine weeks earlier. Had built my case while she was still planning her exit, had protected myself while she was still lying, had turned her betrayal into evidence, had transformed my hurt into strategy, efficient. That's what I called her approach. But mine was better. Mine was thorough. Mine was bulletproof. Mine was built on facts she couldn't dispute and evidence she couldn't explain away. And when her lawyer's expression changed, when he realized what he was actually dealing with, that's when she understood. That's when she finally saw that the person she'd been deceiving wasn't as naive as she'd thought. That the nice guy she'd taken for granted had teeth and knew exactly when to use them. That underestimating someone's intelligence while overestimating their tolerance was a mistake she'd never forget.